Hello everyone, my name is Evan Neal and I'm the owner and farmer at Chattahoochee Queen, a small cut flower growing operation based in Atlanta, Georgia and Stonecrest, where we are today. And I farm on a small scale out here at the Stonecrest site. We have about a half an acre plus in production. Today I'm going to show you how to use a BCS tractor and 3 different implements to mow a bed of sunflowers that I'm done harvesting, spread compost over that bed, and use the rototiller to prepare a new planting area for the next succession. I used to do this by hand, but it was super labor intensive, and so I've come to rely on the BCS 2-wheel tractor to make the job a lot easier, and that's what we're going to go over today. Here we are in the barn with the 4 implements in my farmer toolkit that I use to build and flip and replant beds. So here is the flail mower, and it's a fantastic tool for chopping up dense, fibrous plant material and leaving it right where it's cut. So it keeps the organic matter right where it was growing. It's great for mowing cover crops and a finished bed of flower or vegetable crops. This is the compost spreader. It gets towed behind the BCS 2-wheel tractor, and you load manually compost into the hopper here, and there's a little conveyor belt. It distributes an even layer of compost over the entire planting surface. And over here we have a rototiller attachment for the BCS. I use it to mix in amendments and compost to the bed in between each planting. And finally, we have the long-handled bed preparation rake for creating a nice, smooth, weed-free and clump-free planting surface. The reason I like this combination of implements and tools is because it's great for building soil. I'm not going to show you how I put on the implement, but wanted to show you how effective the flail mower is at knocking down even super fibrous and dense plant material. Once the sunflowers are harvested and the bed needs to be flipped, I remove the drip tape and wait for a dry day to use the flail mower. All right, here we are, and with a little bit of movie magic, we've got a bed that has been flail mowed already about a week and a half ago, and it's ready to have compost added, amendment spread, and be tilled in and ready to replant. So we've changed out our flail mower implement for our compost spreader implement, switched the handlebars around about 180 degrees, and now I'm going to walk alongside the BCS as the compost spreader spreads a nice even layer of compost over the entirety of this bed. Because it is a belt-driven conveyor belt, I have to pull a pin before I start walking down alongside the bed. With the BCS tractor in first gear, I walk down the walking row while the compost spreader is straddling the bed that is going to be planted. I'm adding compost between each planting to build up the soil microbiology and add extra carbon into the soil. One of the nice benefits of the compost spreader is that it spreads it evenly over a 30-inch wide raised bed, and you're not getting it in the walking row. You're only putting compost where you want it, in the planting surface. I follow the compost spreader with a light till with the BCS. I just switch out the implements. Again, making sure the soil isn't too wet or too dry. Last but not least, the final pass is with my hands and the long bed preparation rake. I use that just to make sure all of the little root balls and soil clumps are out of the planting space, especially if I'm going to be direct seeding into the bed. If it's been a few days or more since you prepared your bed for planting, I'd recommend raking before transplanting or direct sowing in order to kill any tiny weeds that may have germinated in the bed. All right, so there you have it. You've seen how we flip a bed here at Chattahoochee Queen. We used our BCS walk-behind two-wheel tractor with the flail mower, the compost spreader, the rototiller, and the long-handled bed rake so that we can create a nice, clean planting surface for next time. Some takeaways to consider when flipping beds: timing, how long you should wait after mowing to till under and plant a new bed. Be watching the weather and plan to do those things on a dry day. Whether you want to use a compost spreader implement in your bed flipping plan, and considerations like compost makeup, compost application frequency, and why we only compost in the beds themselves and not the walking rows. How quickly and how often you'll need to pass over the bed you're flipping, and remembering that the ideal time to till is when it's not too dry or too wet. And lastly, what parts of the bed flipping are going to involve hand tools, especially when you need a fine seed bed when you're doing direct seeding.